Is it recording? Okay, it's recording. Hey, what is up, Success Squad? I'm back at it again. Positively Udo in the building. And if you're not yet a part of the Success Squad, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's the only way you can join the fam. This is a channel where we talk about success on our own terms. We talk about law of attraction. We're going to have book reviews. And we talk about mental health, which is a part of becoming successful. And my good friend, my good YouTube friend, Chris from The Rewired Soul, he just made a YouTube video about his experience with his antidepressants. And he's taking a new one. He was taking Lexapro, now he's taking Prozac. And I decided, well, you know what? Let me share my experience with my antidepressants. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And I'm not editing this video because, listen, I don't have time. I have not posted in a long friggin' time, and it's because I'm afraid of friggin' editing my videos. So this is unedited. Hey, like them apples. That also means it's gonna be long, so just grab some popcorn, sit tight, because it's gonna be a doozy, probably. Knowing me and this mouth. But first of all, I do want to mention that mental health is so important. That's why I made that freaking video to Ethan Klein of H3H3. He just refuses to get help. He refuses to get help for his depression. It is so important because it affects your quality of life. It affects your productivity. It affects the people that you love. It affects your entire life. And mental health is a part of you. And it's the most important part of you because it's your mind. It's this thing. It controls everything. It controls how you view your life. It controls what you create in life. It controls everything. So getting that under control is super important. So please, Ethan Klein, please get professional help for your depression. It took me years for me to get help. And it took me years for me to just finally take an anti-friggin' depressant. So I was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder back when I was in college, an undergrad. And back then, my psychiatrist recommended this antidepressant called Wellbutrin. A lot of psychiatrists use Wellbutrin off-label for ADHD, and he recommended it, and I was like, no, I'm not taking that. Back then, I was all about being all natural and hippy-dippy stuff. I am not like that anymore. I'm definitely not like that anymore, but I was like really anti-meds back then, so I didn't take it. And then I went to grad school, and my psychiatrist in grad school recommended the same thing. He's like, you know, maybe if these ADHD drugs that are fast acting, it's not helping you much, let's try this. And I was like, no, don't want to do it. Fast forward, I get out of grad school, and now I am seeing my own psychiatrist, and I'm willing to experiment with medication, but I'm still scared. I believe I tried Prozac for like 2 days. And obviously with an antidepressant, usually it takes at least 3 weeks to see the effect. So whatever you first experience, it might be placebo effect, or, you know, who knows. But when I took Prozac for those 2 days, I just felt like kind of numb. Like nothing really affected me, which was better than being miserable. And then I also tried Pristique, which I don't think Pristique is an antidepressant. I do not know why. It was a nurse practitioner, by the way. It wasn't a MD psychiatrist. It was a nurse practitioner. And I don't know why she would give me Pristique. Because to my understanding, that's an anti-anxiety. I was having a lot of anxiety, but if she examined it a little bit more, I mean, we didn't differentiate if it was because I suffer an anxiety disorder or is it just a result of ADHD and depression. But I tried Pristique, and Pristique actually was pretty cool. Like, I had no anxiety, like, at all. Like, nothing fazed me. Like, you can't catch me slipping on Prestige. I took that for a few days. But it left me, I got brain zaps, which is like where your mind just randomly, just like this electric current going up and down your spine to your brain. It feels really weird. And then every now and then I would kind of feel like I'm floating. So I stopped taking those and just went back to normal ADHD medication. And my ADHD medication of choice is Evykio, because it lasts between 4 and 6 hours. So if I take it later in the day, it doesn't make me stay up all night. But it still lasts long enough that I can get things done. So that's my medication of choice with ADHD, but it wasn't enough to help me in life. And I got to a point where my depression got very low, and I have a cycle of feeling normal and then having super low depression, feeling normal, having super low depression. And I thought I was over it. Like, I thought I was done being depressed. And I thought the only thing I need, let me just take this off. I thought the only thing I needed to deal with was my ADHD. But then I had a severe bout of depression again. And that's when I was like, I need to fix this. I cannot live the rest of my life like this. I can't do it. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I can't. And I was severely depressed. So my first step of action was to get on BetterHelp.com. If you are a YouTuber, you love YouTube, you are very aware of BetterHelp.com. I'm actually a member of that. And I actually have a code. I have the link in the description. It's tryonlinetherapy.com/positivelyudo. Use my link and give it a try, man. It's just as effective as normal therapy. So BetterHelp is basically online therapy. You can text your therapist. You can send pics to your therapist. You can send selfies. You can send oh, I'm reading this book. What do you think? You can send stuff to your therapist and then book sessions. Usually weekly. I think you can do more than weekly, but you book a session that could be just voice chat or video chat. And it has been just as effective as in-person therapy for me, minus drive time, minus gas money, and minus being late, because I have a tendency to be late when I go to things. But when it's just on my phone, there's no excuses. It's like, oh, it's sending me a notification that I have therapy in half an hour. Oh, it sent me another notification that I have therapy right now. Okay, click, hi. So there's no excuses. I always make it to my therapy sessions. So I was severely depressed. I didn't have a depression diagnosis. The psychiatrist had diagnosed me with ADHD because I took an actual ADHD test. It takes like 4 hours or something. But no one ever was like, you are diagnosed with depression and here's your treatment. But I was definitely suffering depression symptoms. So the first time I talked to my online therapist, she's like, yeah, what you're talking about definitely sounds like depression. Take this assessment and let me see what level of depression you have. All the questions, severe depression. She's like, okay, so makes sense. You're actually severely depressed. And I'm like, yeah, I can buy that. I was probably snot coming out my nose crying. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably severely depressed. I mean, I'm at that point where I kind of don't want to exist anymore, to be frank with you. So, can we fix this? Is there any help for me? What are we gonna do? Because, to be honest, I don't know if this online talk therapy is gonna work for me. And she was like, well, have you taken a medication or antidepressant? And I was like, I don't want to. And I was still anti-medication. I still have this idea in my head that if you just exercise and eat right and go out in nature and find your passion and this and you do that and you do that, then your depression is cured. I still have that belief. I still believe that if you just ate the perfect whole food diet, then blah, blah, blah. I still believed in that crap. And I didn't want to take medication because I believed this propaganda that, you know, if you take medication, your body's no longer pure and you're going to cause other problems. And, you know, you're going to need a medication to offset the side effects of that medication. And I was just like really in this hoopla, this stupid idea that medication is bad. And I have tried everything. There's books on how to cure your depression and cure your ADHD using diet, herbs, and supplements, and none of that stuff works for me. It just didn't work. I've spent so much money on supplements. So much friggin' money. It doesn't work for me. So I was like, no. I haven't tried antidepressants. I'm afraid of the side effects, you know, and you know, the mass shooters, they were on Prozac, and kids are committing suicide when they get on antidepressants, and I hear the side effects of withdrawals if you want to get off are horrible. And my therapist, my online therapist, she was the first person to just really talk to me about it, because all my other psychiatrists, when I said, no, I don't want to take that antidepressant, I don't want to take something that I need to take for 3 weeks before it works, they didn't question me. They were just like, okay, hands off. But this therapist actually questioned me. Where are these ideas coming from? Let's examine this. And she just helped me to understand that, okay, I'm just getting these ideas off from strangers off the internet. And she told me about her personal experience and what her clients have seen. And ultimately, it's like, listen, you've tried everything before. How much longer are you going to suffer through this without trying this option? Or at least talking to a professional psychiatrist to discuss this option. So I was like, okay, you sold me. I'll try medication. Now, I was a brat. It took me, so that conversation happened, and then it took me sequentially several months and weeks to finally be taking my antidepressant on a consistent basis. I drove my psychiatrist insane. I went behind my psychiatrist back to my family practice practitioner to get a lower dosage of the medication without telling her. And then sometimes I would take it, sometimes I wouldn't. Crazy. Until finally I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take it. And no matter what, I'm just going to take it every single day. So the medication I take is Wellbutrin. And the experience I've had was the first few days I took it, I was on cloud nine. I felt amazing. And my fiance couldn't believe it. He was like, oh my God, you're smiling like all the time and you're cleaning the place and you organized your paperwork. What is this miracle drug? And I was like, oh my gosh, why did it take me so long to do this? But I felt kind of airy-fairy. So I would have moments where I feel like, ooh, kind of dream state. It would last for like a few seconds. And then after a week, I had a bad paranoia episode. Like, I don't know what to describe it as. I don't take many drugs, so I don't know what kind of drug it's like. But it's that feeling, you may or may not have ever experienced this, but it's this feeling that like you look at your hands. And normally when you look at your hands, you have this innate feeling that these are my hands. And they're my hands. But in the state I was in, it was like, these are hands. They may or may not be mine. logically, I know they're in my hands, but it could easily just be a mannequin's hands, for all I really know. That feeling freaks me to flip out. Like, it feels like I'm not real. It feels like I'm just consciousness and everything else is not really real or me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freaky, this is freaky, this is freaky. And then, like, my cat's like, meow. And I'm like, are you even real right now? Let me touch you to make sure you're real, okay? I think you might be real. And then it just got worse. It was like, okay, am I like in a dream right now? Let me pinch myself. Oh, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel that pinch. Okay, I felt it kind of that time, but maybe now the dream is like sending biofeedback. I was like, oh, I was so paranoid. It was really weird. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's too much, it's too much. I'm just gonna go to bed. But what if I'm in a dream and I go to bed and I dream and it's a dream within a dream and it's Inception? Oh my gosh. So it was just really weird. It freaked me out. It freaked me the hell out. So the next morning I threw my medication away. And just this whole, I drove my psychiatrist crazy. She was like, why did you throw your medication away? Why don't you just take your medication the way I prescribed it to you? Because she also prescribed another medication that counteracts the Wellbutrin. But anyway, I just wouldn't listen. But then I got to a point where I was like, okay, let me just literally take this every day. So I was taking the Wellbutrin every day. It's Wellbutrin, 150 milligrams. By the way, how long have I been talking? Doesn't have the time on here. But anyway, and I was also meditating, exercising, eating 3 times a day with vegetables, taking supplements, fish oil. I was on it, okay? And after a few weeks, so when I started again, I didn't feel different. In the first few weeks, I was just really focused on my healthy habits. And it was surprisingly easy for me to maintain the healthy habits. But it took up most of my day. To be honest, the healthy habits took up most of my day. Until I got to a point where I kind of made a realization. I was like, wait a minute. It's been 2 weeks and I haven't thought about not existing once. I haven't cried myself to sleep in like a really long time. So I was just noticing a lot of negative feelings were starting to not come anymore. I was like, okay, interesting. And I went from severely depressed to slightly functional, but my normal self. So my normal self, easily overwhelmed, and I procrastinate because I'm overwhelmed. I feel scatterbrained. I have mental fog. I get anxiety, like everything makes me anxious because I'm like, oh, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to forget something. I know I'm forgetting something. Oh my God. If I made a to-do list, it would freak me out. Like I would start hyperventilating if I saw a to-do list. So I'm like, well, I'm back to normal. But then I got over that and that overwhelmed feeling started to not be as intense. And the procrastination was happening less. And I could make a to-do list and not flip out. And I was starting to be like, oh my gosh, am I like a normal person now? Oh my gosh, this is so cool. And then I stopped doing the healthy habits. I stopped exercising, stopped meditating, stopped doing all of that. And just taking the Wellbutrin. And it was still good. I felt mentally, I felt the same, but my body did not. My body was, I was tired all the time. I'm currently going through it, being tired all the time. No matter how much I slept, I just couldn't wake up. Being tired all the time. And before you post in the comments, I don't have thyroid issues. I already checked that. And I don't have B vitamin issues. Who knows? Maybe I do. Last time I checked, I didn't. But anyway. So, and then I forgot to get my refill. So it was like 2-3 days I wasn't taking the medication, and I felt the difference. Yesterday, was it yesterday? No, it was 2-3 days ago. I was just losing it. I was like, oh my God. All these people, I don't know what. All these things I have to do. Oh my. I can't, adults. Please leave me alone. I was losing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need my medication. So my experience with Wellbutrin has been life-changing, honestly. And all I can say is it just makes me feel like what I think a normal person feels like. Like, I feel normal. I feel like me minus the crazy negative feelings and crazy negative incessant thoughts. And if I want to do something positive, it's so much easier for me to get up and do it. To get up and go to the gym. To get up and take my vitamins. To get up and go to that class I signed up for. It's so much easier. Now, I'm not perfect. I wish. Maybe I haven't been taking my ADHD medication, so maybe if I take it in combination, I'll be amazing. But, you know, I still procrastinate, and I still, you know, I still have my issues, but it feels manageable. Whereas before, I felt like I couldn't cope with living. And I was contemplating just not continuing to do that anymore. Because I was so miserable. So the Wellbutrin definitely is a lifesaver. I'm thinking about what would happen if I raised my dosage. And my psych doesn't want to raise my dosage because she thinks I'll probably get a headache. And I took two pills yesterday and I got a headache, so, you know, she's probably right about that. I do wonder how other antidepressants might do with me. I've never tried Lexapro. I never gave Prozac like a fair chance. And sometimes I'm like, is there a way to super boost this feeling? Is there a way to super boost this? But I'm just not gonna, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm not gonna mess up a good thing. This has brought me back to a state that I feel like I can live life as an adult. Maybe. So that's my experience with Wellbutrin. Yay! So anyway, I hope this inspires somebody out there. If you have any questions, leave the comments below. Oh, and if you want to subscribe to this channel, not just subscribe, what am I saying? If you want to, like, I don't know the word, like, if you just want to, like, monetarily help out, then please do so. I don't know how else to say it. I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Udoka, UDOKA, because I'm the only one on Patreon. Isn't that nifty? Ain't that cool? So if you want to help out, I pay $20 a month for Photoshop and Adobe Premiere, which I will be using soon. So anyway, if you want to help with those funds so this channel can get on the ball rolling, that will be tight. My goal is to post like every day until I hit 10,000 subscribers. I'm not making any promises, but that's my goal. Okay, we need to get to 10,000 this year, y'all. We need to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. We're not entering 2019 without hitting 10,000 subscribers. That's what we're not gonna do. You hear me? So, if this helps you out at all, leave me a comment below. Leave some requests below as well. And until next time, much love, much luck. Peace out.